you guys leaving, or are you just gonna sit there?
Yo, I'll leave when I want to leave, bitch.
Yeah, and we'll keep sitting here, you shriveled nut.
Yeah, fuck you.
What the fuck you say? What the fuck you say?
Say it again! I dare you to say it again!
Obtaining happiness is like conducting an experiment. It's hard to determine the exact recipe. We can only keep trying and working hard, and hope for a little bit of luck until one day we're exhausted. Beef is a smart, mature, and rare TV drama. It's created and directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who was a writer for Silicon Valley, Two Broke Girls, and Dave, and produced by A24. The latter's films have won the Oscar for Best Picture twice in recent years, including this year's Everything Everywhere All at Once. The film is inspired by Lee Isaac Chung's personal experience, starting with a road rage incident in a large supermarket parking lot in the suburbs of Los Angeles. Danny wanted to return an item but was unsuccessful, and is sulking because of it. As he's backing up, Amy drives her Mercedes towards him. Amy is startled, honks her horn fiercely, and flips Danny off before leaving. Danny immediately chases after her. After a lengthy pursuit on the streets of Los Angeles, Amy manages to escape. But Danny remembers her license plate number. He harbors a grudge and finds her residence, turning the road rage incident into a prank, which causes Amy to declare war on him. The two infiltrate each other's families using false identities and fall into a vicious cycle of revenge, escalating a chance encounter into a full-scale war. Danny's brother Paul and Amy's husband George are also involved. It's clear that the film's theme is related to anger. The title of the film, Beef, as a colloquial expression of feud, also implies this.
That's what's wrong with the world today, man. They want you to feel like you have no control. Like you gotta eat shit with a smile on your face or some shit. Like, fuck that, dude. Fuck it, man. Like, it's like, I'm so sick of smiling, dude.
However, it doesn't seem that simple. It's hard to find an exact word to summarize the rapid and absurd series of events that occur after the road rage incident. For the characters in the drama and for us as viewers, it feels like a chaotic dream that tightly grips us and won't let go. This show shares similarities with another unique comedy series in American TV history, Atlanta. Atlanta depicts the struggles of African Americans living in Atlanta through the lens of a small hip-hop music group, while Beef serves as a microcosm of the real-life experiences of East Asian immigrants in Los Angeles, primarily Korean Americans. Atlanta uses a realistic style mixed with some surrealistic expressions to depict the obvious poverty, implicit racism, and occasional police brutality that the Black community must confront in their daily lives. In contrast, Beef does not directly aim its criticism at the challenges faced by East Asian immigrants in American society. The conflict is left between two Asian immigrant families. Amy is half Vietnamese and half Chinese, while her husband George is a descendant of Japanese Americans, and Danny's family is from Korea. Most of the scenes in the film are shot in Koreatown in Los Angeles. Many of the actors and crew members are friends in real life, coming from a small and loving community. For example, the Korean church and the choir that perform in the film are real, and the actor who plays the choir leader is actually the director Lee Isaac Chung's college classmate. This classmate and Steven Yeun, who plays Danny, also attend the same church. Although the story does portray to some extent the current living conditions of East Asian immigrants in American society, it mostly wants to portray the general emotions that evolve within the East Asian community in this environment. This is reflected in a persistent sense of frustration, which may vary somewhat due to differences in wealth but is essentially the same. Danny belongs to the working class and is a failed contractor, while Amy owns her own plant shop and is even acquired for $10 million. However, both of them must endure depression caused by low emotions in their lives. The other characters surrounding them are like the deep vortex created by Danny and Amy, spreading ripples in all directions, all with their own problems and a special connection to the theme of anger. Everyone's life is another way of expressing frustration. In the thick anxiety and self-doubt, frustration slowly hatches into anger. If people trapped in depression can only release negative energy, then anger meeting anger will inevitably explode into a destructive force beyond imagination. Many of us experience times when life feels like a bottomless pit that we can't climb out of. Danny puts up a front of masculinity, but inside he's plagued by insecurity and self-loathing. He's stuck in a corner where nobody pays attention to him. Amy, on the other hand, wears octagonal glasses and tries to alleviate her anxiety by diffusing it in a long close-up shot. Danny tries to end his life by inhaling carbon monoxide from a barbecue grill, while Amy masturbates with a pistol. Both have tried different methods to escape their depression, such as overeating, singing loudly in church, seeking therapy, and practicing meditation. They even attempted to cheat on their partners, but nothing seems to help.
Feeling I've had for a long time. I don't remember when it started. I can't pinpoint exactly when or why, but it feels like the ground. But like right here. When I was in college, I tried to get help. I did. I saw the psychiatrist and he put me on antidepressants, but all it did was mute it. Like, it took the sound off, but it just kept on playing.
I want you to talk to me about this stuff.
Yeah, and George, I do. You know, I want to, but sometimes it feels like if I tell you things, you're not gonna understand.
The film explores the journey of finding the root cause of anger. Danny and Amy are inherently full of love, and there must be a reason for their anger. This makes it clear that they may be labeled as bad people, but they are not evil. In my opinion, they are simply two individuals who are trapped in the cycle of depression. Everyone in this play, including us, starts out like a wild horse. Some are lucky enough to escape, while others are bound tightly by the ropes or assigned to less competent cowboys for taming. Some try to break free from the fence but end up breaking their own legs. The phrase "life is an adventure" that people often say probably means this. The climax of the film, which corresponds to the scene of road rage in the first episode, shows the scene of the pickup truck and the Mercedes racing in a different form on the valley floor below the cliff. It seems like there's only despair waiting for us at the end of such a mundane life. In fact, Danny and Amy may have already noticed their similarities during their countless conspiracies and provocations. In a brief meeting, they had an extremely exciting dialogue.
What do you need?
I just want to know if you're like, I don't know, happy and shit.
Why do you care?
I just want to know if I gotta get to where you are.
Everything fades. Nothing lasts. We're just a snake eating its own tail.
This is a clear conclusion. The root cause of all these problems, the culprit that prevents them from achieving happiness, from road rage to the constant eruption of anger, does not come from a very specific survival pressure in real life, but from some cultural customs and traditional beliefs shared by East Asian ethnic groups. The film also extends from the decomposition of surface social problems to the analysis of universal psychological aspects. Amy confesses to George that she doesn't know when and where her sense of loss originates. And Danny's fear of loneliness is also a mystery. We don't know why it has such a strong attraction, leading him to make those inexplicable decisions. It seems that Amy and Danny's anxiety stems from innate personality flaws. However, the film doesn't stop there. To answer the question of where does the hidden anxiety that causes anger come from, it takes us back to several moments in Danny and Amy's respective upbringing, indicating that the lack of timely and beneficial help from their respective families may be the real reason. The core of traditional East Asian morality is obedience, filial piety, and loyalty, advocating restraint and introversion. Some emotions that should be immediately vented are suppressed in the heart and ferment into harmful self-blame. Amy and Danny's parents also express their love in a way that unconsciously hopes their children can live according to their understanding and constantly reminds them of the sacrifices they made. In East Asian culture, family members are bound so tightly, but each person's inner world is often very suppressed. Endless internal friction depletes oneself. This is probably the root of emptiness and loneliness. Let's go back to the final scene of the first episode, where Danny and Amy had their first face-to-face encounter. After a prank is played, both of them reveal a rare knowing smile. Danny is happy after successfully pulling off his mischief, while Amy is initially angry but later breaks into a barely perceptible smile upon seeing Danny scampering away. Whether it's the road rage or the subsequent series of conflicts, It seems that both of them need this episode of farce to help them briefly escape from their dreary lives and make it a little bit more interesting. Anyway, road rage is not a good solution in the end. After finding out the true cause of their anger, the film also proposes a treatment plan. The next day after their luxury car plunged off the cliff with the accompaniment of Bjork's "All Is Full of Love," and the sun rises again, they meet again in the wilderness. Their fight intensifies into a heated physical struggle, until finally, nature gives them the punishment they deserve, forcing them to recall the past in their hallucinations and dig out the roots of hatred that have penetrated their souls.
I think we're dying.
I think so too.
I see your life. You poor thing. All you wanted was to not be alone.
You don't have to be ashamed. It's okay. I see it all, and you don't have to hide. It's okay. We should have done this more often.
What a waste.
At least we did it once.
The poisonous berries teach them a lesson and also give them healing. They are able to put themselves in each other's shoes, in their hallucinations. They finally feel the soft heart behind the angry facade of each other. Whether it's because of their own personality flaws or the imprisonment of cultural genes, our only way to relieve depression is to learn to forgive our imperfection and try to empathize with others, especially those who honk their horns rudely at us on the street.